What up? This is Ramashkin covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Peacock's new series, Irreverent. Hey, before you watch my review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell, so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. Let's rock this! First up, I would like to say thank you to Peacock streaming service for granting me the screeners to this entire new show. They've asked me to not spill spoilers, therefore this review is spoiler free. I repeat, there are no spoilers in this video review. I shit you not, my first reaction when I started watching the first episode was, hey, that's Tommy Merlin from Arrow series. Well, the actor's real name is actually Colin Donnell, and post Arrow, he had been doing that Chicago series franchise, playing the same character over and over and over again. And so it's nice to see him getting this lead role with this new project. Very refreshing, even if it means he has to literally fly halfway across the world for it. Now, Irreverent is, for lack of a better word, interesting. And I say that because the show takes a while to find its footing. The writers didn't do a good job of setting things up and inviting the audiences in. Even the fish out of water elements are a bit of a hit and miss. But if you stick it out, I promise you, the show eventually gets decent. By episodes 4 or 5, once the whole double life thing kicks in, the story becomes more clear and engaging. In Irreverent, a criminal mediator from Chicago is forced to flee his life and everything he knows and hide out in a small Australian reef community in far north Queensland, posing as the new church reverend. Reverend Mackenzie Boyd, not his real name, has made a mess so bad he can never go home, but he's gonna need all his considerable street smarts to pull off posing as clergy, something he doesn't know the first thing about. If he slips up, he's dead, and after a lifetime of crime, doing good works is not something that comes naturally. But Mac finds himself in a small beach town with no phone or internet, amongst a community that is filled with people desperate for connection and crying out for a leader. What at first seems like a perfect hiding place from the Chicago mob quickly becomes Mac's home. But as he reluctantly settles into his new life, Chicago commences the hunt. The only way he will be able to stay off the radar will be to maintain the illusion that he is a reverend. To do that though, Mac will have to appear to care. Trouble for Mac is, after all that pretending, it may just become a bit real. Starring Colin Donnell, PJ Byrne, Kylie Bracknell, and Ed Oxenbould. So there are a total of 10 episodes in this first season. Each runs about 45 to 50 minutes long, give or take. An argument can be made that the show could have been better with shorter runtime because some of the episodes are just way too chatty. Irreverent, for all intents and purposes, is a crime dramedy with heart. And the cast ensemble is led by Colin, who has charms to spare. Colin's performance is magnetic. He's the kind of guy who can talk his way out of anything. Now, his character Mac, aka Paolo, is not a dumb criminal. He's more of a cynic who is in way over his head. The show is only procedural in that on every episode, Mac has to perform a routine that every other regular reverend does, which is why there's this running gag throughout the show where he would call PJ Byrne's character to ask for advice. But in its nature, Irreverent is a long-form story, not consistently funny, but somewhat enjoyable. I think what ultimately draws me in is I care about the characters. Just as Mac is starting to feel for these townsfolk and their plight, halfway through the show, I also find myself empathizing with them as well. And these supporting characters are equally likable. They're eccentric and whimsical and sometimes naive. Sure, you may need subtitles to understand through their thick accent, but they all have redeeming qualities that get your guard down every time. Another thing I like about this show is its music. Oh, you'll hear it popping up during the sentimental scenes. It's that sweet, repetitive melody that wonderfully fits the moments at hand. So yeah, overall, Irreverent is not so bad. It's worth watching only if you're patient about it. Some of its moral lessons are a bit wonky, but the well meaning intentions are there. I would definitely categorize Irreverent as a hidden gem.